Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Have you ever been somewhere that just gave you the creeps? Um, I lived in a few places that were creepy. I lived in a haunted house. My sister's house supposedly had a ghost in the attic. My brother-in-law had a creepy little cabin out in the woods. Um, my niece's house seemed to be like the set of the birds for a day. You know, just little things like that. Sometimes you feel like you're in a horror movie, and scenes are sort of similar. Um, when we had our horses out on a property, large property, sometimes we go out in the evenings and we get dark, and I felt like I was walking around, Crystal Lake at Friday the 13th, and just sort of things like that. But one of the places that gave me the creeps was my what do I call it? My room in East Brunswick. There was a hotel called the East Brunswick Hotel, and it was basically a pub on the ground level, and then the second level and the third level were living quarters. So the upstairs was where the front couple of rooms was where the people who owned the building moved into. Because when I first moved in, the people who owned the building didn't live in the building, but they sold it to someone else and they moved into the building, I guess, to save on rent. So they had like the two front apartments on the road, and the other rooms on that level were people who lived there and they rented rooms. I was on the top level, and the place I had the room sort of on the corner of the building facing the road, and there was nothing next to the building. There was like just a smaller one-story building and a bottle shop and stuff like that. And I had like a video store across the road, and I really liked it, but the building itself was really old, and my room, when you walked out of the room, basically the stairs sort of stopped right next to my door. So the balcony sort of thing at the top of the stairwell was right near my room, and I had heard that someone had possibly drunk, or maybe they were pushed, who knows, fell over that railing and fell down, because these were like 10, 12 foot rooms, and fell down and died on the bottom of the stairs on the second level. And it always kind of scared me, and whenever you went up and down the stairs, you kind of felt sometimes like there was someone there. It was this really old, dark wood, old and creaky, just, no light, a little window up the top, which it was sort of covered and hadn't been cleaned in years and didn't let much light in. It always felt sort of dark, and there were times when I felt like I heard someone coming up the stairs alongside my room, but there was no one there. No one came up the stairs, and it was kind of creepy. And the bathroom, because I didn't have my own bathroom, it was like shared bathroom, because I was like a student, and you would go down this big long hall, and it's like this old creaky floor, and you'd walk, and every other floorboard seemed to move. And you go down this big aisle of hall of like doors that were all closed, and you never knew if people were in them, if people were living there, if they weren't occupied, because people sometimes would just rent them for a week or two. And you go down, and there were two bathrooms facing each other. A pink one, which was for girls, but there were no girls in the building, and a green one, which was for the boys. And the guys tended to use the boys' one, even though there was no one for the girls. So I tended to use the girls' one because it didn't get used as much. And there was another one behind it, so it was like bathroom and shower room. And then next to that, there was a stairwell that went all the way down the back of the building, down to the back door, where they had and then we had their storage and some of their fridges and stuff for the downstairs, because they did meals and stuff for the bar. And it was just kind of creepy. Sometimes you'd just be walking, especially in winter when it's cold, in the middle of the night, just be walking down, and you have to stand in the bathroom, and it was like cold and dark, and there's these windows with no curtains and just black sky outside, because there was nothing as high as that building for like a while. And it was just creepy. And I just got the creeps sometimes, and especially when I was on the stairs, and the times where I felt like I heard someone coming up the stairs. But I did love it though, because I'd never sort of really seen a building like that when I was growing up. The town I lived in, all the houses in the town were built, in the area that I lived in, were built around the same time. They all had the same sort of 1960s sort of style architecture and everything, and it felt a little bit like Edward Scissorhands, where all the houses look the same and they're just painted different colours. It was kind of like that. So to go this old sort of Victorian sort of building that was like over 100 years old, and this big grand, dark wood staircase, which with this history of like someone who died on it that was so tall, and I often kind of got a little bit of vertigo sometimes at the top of the stairs if I look down. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share. I just wanted to share that. Like, if you ever live somewhere that just gave you the creeps, it's fun to look back at it, but in the moment, it's not always fun.